Good morning.
This conference will now be recorded.
My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the special magistrate for this morning's hearing. First thing I'm going to do is swear anybody in who's here to speak on any items on today's agenda. So if you're here to speak, if you could stand and raise your right hands for me if you're able, and I'll swear in town staff as well. Do you all swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you all very much. I think based on the agenda that's before me, I think all of these are violation hearings. So in terms of process, when you hear your case called, come to the podium that's right in front of me here. You will hear the town put on its case first, call any witnesses it has, show me any documents it'd like to show me. Once the town is finished with its side, you will then present any verbal testimony, any documents you have. You can cross-examine any of the town's witnesses that they've called, and at the end of that, I'll make a final ruling, and you'll get an order that reflects that ruling in the mail. With that, I will turn it to the town to call its first case, and I'll note for the record, I did review the August 6 minutes, and I'll adopt those as drafted. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Christy Gatto on behalf of the Town of Ocean Ridge. The first case on today's agenda is case number 2024-008. Michael Dubose is the respondent for the property at 9 Ocean Avenue in the Town of Ocean Ridge. The nature of this violation is work without permits, recreational vehicles and trailers parked on the property, maintenance and appearance standards, residential rental, and off-street parking. The town has present the town clerk, Kelly Avery, and we have an officer from our police department to testify as to the basis for the violations.
All right, and you're the respondent, sir?
I am.
Okay, let me ask the officer, could you come, officer, to this podium over here, the chair over here, since he's standing there? And let me hear, before you begin, sir, let me hear from the clerk and from the officer, and then I'll give you the floor, okay, sir? Go ahead.
Yes, upon receiving body cam footage, we noticed that within that footage, we see that the defendant had several items that were in violation. We were not able to get on the property itself to get actual pictures, so we used the body cam footage. So we noticed that there was an RV on there, which is against the code, and building material, showing that he was actually actively working on his home, which no permits. And just the basic appearance of the home or the property. Things need to be, put away, building material and other things that were out. That was pretty much it. I've got pictures that were showing all that. And we noticed him, and he did show, we had to, at the last original hearing that we had, we weren't able to have witnesses, so we had to redo the meeting, and then he asked for it to be postponed from the next one, so which is why we're at this meeting here.
Okay, so you re-noticed this at his request?
Correct.
Okay. And did you do the certified mailing?
Yes.
Okay.
It did come back.
Okay, you got it signed
Yeah, I
back,
did,
signed
yes.
green card?
But I did, we did post it at his home as well.
Okay.
I guess I should turn all these. We posted it
Okay,
as
there's
well,
the posting, okay.
and then certified mail.
That's what you got back for the certified mail?
No, that's our receipt.
That's your receipt,
Yeah,
okay.
We got the envelope back.
You got it as unreturned?
Correct.
Okay, not delivered. Okay. Okay, is that all your testimony, Miss Avery?
Yes.
Okay. Your name, sir?
I'm Officer Garcia.
You can go ahead and sit down if
Okay.
you will, just so that the recording picks you up. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
That's a little bit.
Turn it red.
Red.
Red zone. Yeah.
Okay.
Your name, sir, for the record?
I'm Officer Garcia.
What's your first name?
Nayron, that's Nayron.
Okay, and your position is your,
At the moment, I'm a reserve officer with the town of Ocean Ridge.
okay, very good. Okay, go ahead, sir.
So, on January 20th, 2024, around 8:10, I was dispatched to a call at 9 Ocean Avenue. Upon my arrival, remember going to the front of the house and noticing that the house was missing the whole wall. Like, there was no wall in the house, you can see inside. Seems like a bone fell through the roof. There was no one around. I remember seeing a car parked on the driveway, a Tesla, and it was charging. I was like, there's somebody living here, because there's a Tesla around. Walking around the premises, noticed a lot of damage to the house. I went to the backyard, and I noticed a pool house. I knocked on the door, and at that moment, Mr. DuBose, he opened the door. I told him the reason I was in his premises was because we received a 911 call, and I asked him if anybody called. And at that moment, there was no call. None of his kids that were in the house called 911, and that was the end of my call with him.
Okay, and is the pictures that are on the screen, that's your body cam footage
Yes,
from
sir.
that day, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Anything further?
I just remember when I saw the house, I was in Iraq in 2004, and they took me back to when Saddam's palace had a bomb through the roof, and I just went back to that. That's how much damage there were to the
Okay.
house.
Okay.
It just,
Okay. Let me ask you to remain sitting there if you would, just in case there's any follow-up questioning. All right, your name, sir?
Michael DeBose.
Okay.
Can you turn the red?
Yeah, push that back.
Michael DeBose.
It's got
Michael
the-
DeBose.
There we go.
Keep it on red.
All right, and before I hear from you, sir, let me ask the town, what is the town seeking today in terms of remedy?
Your Honor, with some of these violations, it's gonna obviously take more time than others. So we're probably looking at a bifurcated order in terms of splitting up the timeframes for the different violations. Obviously for some of the easier ones, like the parking, that's the vehicles that are parked in the yard, we would say that's a 30-day, that's for code section 64-46. For the residential rental, I guess that depends on what Mr. DeVos informs us of. The appearance standards, that's probably gonna require permitting. So I think that would be a 180-day issue, at least. Removing the recreational vehicle, again, that would be a 30-day issue. And the work without permits, depending on what actually is going on with the property, that may also be another longer-term type of issue. And I'm not really sure what is exactly going on, except that we do know that there is the deck that's been constructed without a permit. That might be an easy one to resolve, to obtain a permit for that deck, but not necessarily. So I'm gonna hold off on my recommendation for the violation of 6751, work without permits. And then we would ask for a compliance for the ones, the 30-day ones, the violation of 6629 recreational vehicles and 6446, to bring that in compliance within 30 days or $100 per day thereafter. The other violations for the appearance standards and work without permits, then again, $100 per day by a fine amount. I'm thinking at this point, 180 days to bring them in compliance.
Okay. And let me just ask a question on the residential rental registration. What's the nature of that violation?
We noticed that in the body cam footage, there was somebody living in one of the sheds or something in the back. And we don't have his property listed as a residential rental property in town. Everybody who rents out or has anybody outside of their home staying there is required to register as a
Okay, and-
rental registration.
Okay,
It's an
perfect.
annual fee.
And so did you witness somebody living in the,
Yes, so there were, in the backyard, there were 2 pool houses, I believe that's how you call it, 2 pool houses. I remember the one to the right he was there with his daughter, and I asked him if there was anybody else in the property, and he told me, my son is in the property, and he was across, so in the other pool house, he was, his son, that's what he told me.
okay,
So there was somebody living on both pool houses.
okay. Okay, Mr. DuBose. Let's, I guess, start with just a procedural matter. So you've seen the documents that have been scrolling across the screen. Do you have any objection to those documents being entered into the record? They're the notice documents for today's hearing and then the,
Yeah, a lot of assumptions. I didn't see all the building materials that I've heard several times. And then I don't understand why someone would jump the gun and assume that I need a rental for my son.
we'll get to that. So let me ask Ms. Avery to scroll through all the photographs if you could.
Right there, we could discuss that when we're on that photo, but that's the deck that they said was constructed. I'd salvaged those timbers from Palm Beach Yacht Center in like 96 or 97. I have photos here. They were just lying on the ground. I took photos, I stacked them back up. I've had them on the property since '02.
Okay, so they're no longer in a
Yeah,
deck configuration?
They never were, they were never bolted down. They were just some really heavy duty timbers that one day I'd always intended on building a big pergola in the backyard.
Okay,
So I
okay.
picked them back up.
So it's a project, if you will.
Well, I put them there temporarily, but I've removed them. I removed the Airstream since '06, I believe it was '05. I've had the Airstream on my driveway on the west side, so I moved it back over there. Broken windows here. I have photos. I've plywooded that up. This right here was a storm that we had probably 3 months ago, and a section of the roof fell down. So an officer came out that day. I believe the officer's name is Officer Plesnick. I'm not
Okay.
sure if I'm pronouncing it.
That was a couple of months ago, you said?
It was several months back, but really, really high winds. I mean,
Okay.
it leaned palm trees over my backyard. It was like hurricane. type
Okay,
force
wow,
winds.
okay.
So we removed that section of roof that fell down. Since I've plywooded all that up, I have photos here that's all.
Okay, taken
It's all
care of,
covered
okay.
up. So there's no work without permits. We just cleaned up what fell down. I'm not sure what they're showing there. That's the front deck of my house.
And that's the backyard with the pool, I presume, right?
Correct.
Okay. What's that there?
That's just walking up from the driveway to the deck. You can see the deck.
Okay, the deck is in the corner there, yeah, okay.
It's kind of an odd layout on the photo there. That's me checking on my son when he was asked if anyone else was on the property. So I assume that's the rental. That's the structure right there.
Okay,
That's it.
that's the posting, okay. So what's going on with the main house? Is it a renovation project or?
No, the main house is just, unfortunately, it's been tied up. When I divorced, I did not realize that my ex-wife was still first on the insurance. So the insurance, when the hurricane hit, I believe it was Irma in September, the insurance company came out and they gave me a check for a total roof loss of
Mhm.
$721.
Okay,
So I never cashed it.
it should be plenty to cover it, right?
More than enough.
More than enough.
So, it took a couple of years trying to find, just everybody was so busy, but in the keys were representation I find representation, and both firms, when they saw that the check was issued to my ex-wife and that the policy, they required her to sign off.
Okay.
She refused to sign off. So this took years going back and forth. They finally reissued the check, and I received it in early June of this year. It
Okay.
took the better part of 7 years.
Wow, okay.
So her name is no longer on the policy now. My name's on the policy.
Okay.
So there are a couple of problems. One is the latest adjuster I went to said, I don't know if statute of limitations now is reopened because they've reissued a check. I don't know. I have to look into this. I've since inquired with a couple of other attorneys, and I still do not have an answer yet. Because right now, like I said, the houses would be considered a total loss. And there was only a $721 payout on the
Okay.
property. The other problem that I've always had on the property, and I'd show you these photos here.
Let me ask you to give them all to the town attorney first and let her look at
I
them
have two
first.
sets. This is a set of the work that I did prior to the hearing that we had set for July.
Okay.
I just wanted you to see that I tried to make everything in compliance right away. And then since returning, I did additional and I labeled them.
Okay, perfect. So go back to the microphone if you could. I'm gonna let her look at them and then let me know if she has any objection to them. And while she's looking at those, let me ask you again, the documents on the screen that you've seen, do you have any objection to those being entered into the record?
I don't have any objection.
Okay.
Your Honor, I don't have any objections to the picture. I do have some questions, but I don't have an objection to the pictures.
All right, let me do that before you ask your questions. I'll go ahead and enter then the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection from respondent. And then I'll enter. So when were these photos taken?
I'd have to go back and look at the time date stamp. The first set of photos were taken within probably 10 days of that affidavit being placed on my front gate.
Okay,
And then those photos there were probably taken 3 or 4 days ago.
Okay.
Just 'cause I thought I'd label them.
okay,
Make it
perfect.
easier.
All right, with that, I'll enter respondent's composite exhibit 2, which consists of 16 photographs without objection. Do you have questions for respondent or?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so the first packet, the front page is the one showing the Tesla and the RV on the driveway.
Correct.
And was there a motorcycle also parked in the yard?
I have a little Yamaha Zuma. It's in one of the photos of the
Oh,
second
okay.
packet, maybe.
Then you moved that onto the driveway as well?
Well, originally, it was all, the whole front yard was driveway. There's a curve and the driveway circled around like it was gonna exit, but did not exit. And then, because during the construction of the bridge, the person that owned my house was absent and so he didn't request. Some of the homes got 2 driveway curb cut and some of them got 1. So mine, even though I had the driveway, everybody would show and say like, why don't you have the curb cut? So I always thought when I had the home when a home built there, I'd always have the curb cut, and I had to have the state of Florida get involved. The engineers came out and looked because they put an A1A sign right where the driveway should exit.
Okay.
So for years, there was like a brown rice rock, and then it just sunk into the dirt, and it just looked like mud. And then Mrs. Bingham's grass kind of slowly grew over and started taking over, but didn't take over the whole yard. So I just put back shell over everything that was previously. For the most part, it was rice rock. Like I said, originally the driveway wrapped around the main house for some reason and went like halfway across the backyard.
So the town's requirement does not allow you to have the Airstream on your property. So I appreciate the fact that it was moved onto the driveway, but under 66-29, it has to be removed from the property. Are you living in the RV?
No, I just, when friends pass through, I tell them when they can use it, and I just use it for office space sometimes.
Okay. Okay. In the first set of pictures we were just talking about, there are pavers.
Yeah, they're all removed. The second set of photos showed I'd hired a company I'd removed them from around my pool deck just to create more percolation area. And the company continued to say their tractors broke down. So finally I hired a few guys to come over and hand move them. So the pavers from out front, the roof to the Jeep, the Boston Whaler, the sailfish sailboat, surfboard trailers and surfboards, all of those things that were out front, everything's been removed. There's nothing out front anymore.
All right, so as to the work without permit for the decking, it looks like in the second set of photos, which were taken,
You could see the very last photo. I've stacked the timbers back up where they've been since, like I said, at least 2003.
okay, so those are no longer there?
No, and there's photos, the prior, I believe photos 4, 5, and 6 also show, that's the east side yard. That's where I'd moved the Airstream to. But that's where the Airstream, was sitting,
Okay. And with regards to the pavers,
They were just pavers around my pool deck that I just no longer wanted, so I had them removed from the property.
okay. In terms of the home itself, you testified that you had plywooded windows that had been broken?
Those photos to depict that. I believe number 7 in that second to the last photo will show you looking from Mrs. Bingham's backyard, looking across the backyard. You can see, everything's 100% plywooded up and painted.
Okay, yeah, the thing is, under the town's code, for the maintenance standards, it has to be in good repair and working condition. So you can't just plywood over broken windows, you have to return.
So I came in immediately to explain to the town manager the situation, and it's not that simple. 1, having the ex-wife and having to have her removed from the policy, and then 2, the problem being in the first set of pictures, the very last photo will show you the other packet, that one, yeah. The very first last photo will show you the Palm Beach County Property Appraisers website, and if you look at the improvement value at 22 versus 23, I'm not sure why the hike after 20 years of owning the property, especially now that the home is destroyed. But the improvement value in 22, I believe it's like $30,000. So I've been caught in a catch-22 here. To replace this roof, it exceeds 50% of the improvement value. Therefore, I have to bring the entire structure up to today's code just to repair the roof. So understandably, I have a beef with the insurance company because this isn't just a roof issue. This is $1 million problem because the engineers are gonna want pin piles, and, now they're gonna say my footer's no longer sufficient, and new windows and new electrical. So it's not just putting a new roof on the structure, so, if anyone would like to have it, resolved, it's me. I don't want that plywood on there, but it's $1 million problem that the insurance company has tried to remove themselves from. So I explained to the town manager, it was coincidental, within days of receiving that affidavit, I'd received the new check from the insurance company, which I brought with me, and a letter from the insurance company. So all this unfolded within days. So I said, now I have an opportunity to see what my rights are. Is the house a complete loss and it's my tough luck, or is the insurance company required to make this whole?
Okay.
And then the other thing, the reason why I printed that photo off is because it's just a whole nother ballgame. Had the home been, the improved value been assessed at $330,000 when all of this took place, then that means I could go and get like $166,500 worth of work without hitting that substantial improvement clause, which, I could have had my entire house taken care of. But instead, the situation is just so macerated, and once the roof went through and the termite damage was exposed, the thing just began caving in on itself.
Okay, in terms of the residential rental, so your testimony is that it was just your son living on the
It
property?
is my son. I mean, my son's been staying there since, 9th grade of high school, so
Okay.
he's a senior in college now.
So you weren't renting to anyone else on the property?
No, there are no renters.
Okay. Your Honor, then we will dismiss the residential rental violation, since his testimony is that we don't have any evidence to contrary that he's required to have his son register as a rental.
He's not required to under the town code, correct?
That's
Because his
correct.
family, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's 22 and in school. He's not 44 and, loafing.
Okay, and, Your Honor, based on the photos that have been presented, we'll also dismiss the violation for parking off the street for I believe, the motorcycle and the vehicle, since the photographs now depict that he came within compliance within the time set to have those on the property.
So that's 6446
Yes.
A goes
Yes, Your
away.
Honor.
Okay.
So that, the work without permits was with regard to the deck, and is there no work being done on the home whatsoever?
No, I mean, other than boarding it up, waiting for this situation to be resolved.
Okay,
The timbers, like I said, it's the last photo. And every one of them that was taken that day are stacked up. It's the very last photo in that packet there. You can see they're really substantial. They were never bolted down, screwed down, or anchored in any way. I just laid them there in front of my Airstream. I believe I had 6 or 8 of them on the ground in front of the Airstream.
That was a question I had. This doesn't look like all of them in the photo. In the
They're
last.
all there.
Okay. Are any of these pictures exactly the area where the planks were laid down previously?
Yes. Number 4, you can see looking into the back gate. That's
On the second set of photos?
the photo, yes, that you have in your hand right there.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. This one?
Should be picture 1. Correct. And then the next photo is you're going through that gate, and that's where the Airstream and the timbers are laying on the ground. You can see that everything's been
Removed.
There's nothing there but my palm trees now. And then picture number 5 is that same area. That's looking, picture 4, you're looking south. Picture 5, you're looking north. But of the same east side yard. Yeah, all of those are removed. If you scroll back one, there you go. that's all palm trees now. So if you looked at picture number 5, that's looking in the same direction that this is.
Okay, so hold on that picture for a second. So there looks to be 8 or 9 planks. I don't see that many planks in this last photo. So where are the rest of them?
They're right there, the shady picture. I'm just trying to exemplify that they're just stacked right back up. I'll be happy to walk home and take another picture, but every one of them are right there.
Okay.
And you can see the ground. I've laid out my palm trees right there that I planted.
Okay.
And I mean, there's no room for anything to be on the
To be
ground.
on there. Okay.
There's no room.
Okay.
I have 80 palm trees planted there in pots in that little area. No.
So, Your Honor, I believe based on his testimony and photos, and obviously since the town hasn't been on the property to do a reinspection, the recreational vehicle still needs to be removed from the property pursuant to section 60-29. So we would ask for 30 days or $100 per day on that violation. For section 67-174, it's maintenance and appearance standards. Obviously, you know, we can all understand the legal issues with insurance companies and fixing the roof and the windows, but they need to be in good condition and working order. So I believe that violation has been established. I recognize the legal issues with trying to get that resolved, but this damage sounded like it happened with Hurricane Irma, so that's been years.
Mm-hmm.
So I would ask for 180 days to bring that in compliance, failing which $100 per day, to give him a deadline to get something done and not just wait to decide what to do. That leaves a remaining violation of 67-51, work without permits, and, you know, without more, I don't know that the city or the town can establish that that violation has been established. So, you know, if there is no work being done on the home except for plywood over things, which I don't believe would require a permit.
The trees would,
I'm sorry,
planting of the trees requires permits.
the what?
The planting of the trees requires permits.
In the pots?
I move my trees
In the
around
pots?
all the time. You're telling me that now when I move these things, and every time I lean my palm trees, that I have to come get a permit?
We require a tree planting permit, yes, for any trees, because of the fact that we have septic, all trees are required to go through an approval process.
That only applies to trees planted in the ground though, right?
Yes,
Okay.
is that what you are doing?
No, I just
I think
mounted those up temporarily because I knew at some point I'm gonna be knocking the house down, so I was just putting them there just temporarily. I know that they're gonna be used on the property. Everything's staging for when I do.
In pods, it's not a big deal, but in the ground, then yes, it would.
All right, well, they're burned up. I'm not worried about that. They're gonna be moved when a new house is built. I mean, they're just,
But they were already there. All you did was prop them back up after the storm?
no, I just moved them from one
You
section
moved them
of
from one
property.
location to another. Okay, so technically
So
that
they could
probably does
open up.
require a permit then?
Yeah, this photograph that's up on the screen, what is that? Is that work that has been done without a permit?
No, that's where I was saying that roof, that section of roof fell down, so we cleaned it all up that day. That was the day I mentioned earlier that Officer Pleasant came out. So all we did was pick up that roof and then we boarded it up.
Part of that picture was for this issue right here.
Correct, that's
the
all
work on the
boarded
home.
up now.
Yeah, Your Honor, I'm a little concerned about that because from a structural standpoint, I would think even just boarding that up and holding that roof up, you're gonna require permits on a temporary basis.
There's nothing to worry about structurally. That load supporting wall has been there since 1937 with no hurricane straps on it. Putting plywood up on it was far more sufficient than the plaster that fell off on the first rainstorm. It's way stronger than it was now that we plywooded it up. And again, I came to the town manager within days of this being hung on my gate and I said, I'm just trying to figure out what to do here.
Did
You're
you-
mentioning working, Sorry.
Before you go on, let me ask you a question. Did you take any portion of that structure down?
No, just anything that's fallen down, I've thrown away.
Okay.
The city trash have taken it away. The only thing that I took away in a dumpster was right when it happened. I took all my contents out of the house. And I got those pictures at home too for the insurance company.
No, but I just mean specific to that portion there that was damaged in the storm recently.
No.
Okay, so nothing that would trigger a demolition permit was my concern.
No, I would love to have the house demolished and I'd have a really nice big backyard, but I'm waiting to try it again. The bank has sent out their inspector and he came out probably 4 weeks ago and he goes, oh yeah, the house is in really bad shape. He goes, but this is all damage. I said,
Right.
yes, it is. It's 7 years old.
So are you living on the property? Are you living in one of the
I am.
pool houses?
I am.
Okay.
So what's the plywood holding up on that photograph on the screen? The roof?
No, I mean, you can see the old Dade County pine, that the studs there that are holding up the roof. And on the other side of the roof, it's a big post and beam. So there's posts that run down the front and back side of the house and a big beam that holds it up. So while that was a load bearing wall, there's very little load on it because of all the posts and beams. The other side of that wall is the living room. And right now that's just plywooded up, and the plywood is, well, it is significantly stronger. The plywood was primarily just for aesthetics. So,
Those vertical plywood aren't holding anything up?
well,
The vertical posts?
not really. The bulk of the weight is held up by all, if you stuck your head in, there's a doorway there, the palm's kind of falling over. But if you stuck your head in there, you'd see, well, you can't now because it's plywooded, but there's posts running down the front side that parallels the street and the back side which parallels the street. And there's, big beams that support the ceiling. I believe there's 6 of them. So again, the plywood, when I stand there, it makes it, there you go, it's a lot better. It's just aesthetically, it looks a lot better. It's nice and clean, it's painted all one color. And so I just put it up there temporarily. I can't see this dragging on for months. The attorney's gonna tell me I either have something or I don't have something. And either way, I'm gonna move for demolition.
Are you in insurance litigation with your insurance company?
No, I'm asking, do we have anything that we can litigate?
Okay, so you
on
haven't even gotten to
beyond
that
5
step.
years.
Okay.
And so, like I said, one adjuster said, this may open things, statute of limitations may be extended because of the situation. I don't know. So that's what I'm waiting to find out.
Have you met with your attorney on this yet, or do you have a meeting scheduled?
I've met with 2 different attorneys since the adjuster waiting, and neither one of the attorneys knew either. The adjuster was going to talk to their attorney and ask them where they stood.
Okay.
And since then, because I did not have an answer. I
When
went to my
was that?
Primary real estate attorney, probably 2 weeks ago, and he
Okay.
said he did not know. So I called another real estate attorney. That's their primary practice, and he said he wasn't sure of this either. It's not a situation that they come across regularly.
Okay. Okay, any further comments or questions, Madam Town Attorney?
No, Your Honor, I'm really concerned with what has been done here in this photograph with the plywood. I think it looks like a situation that's gonna require permits, to make sure that structure, since people are living on the property, is safe. And so I would, submit that property is still in violation for work without permits under 67-51, and we would ask to give them 180 days to come into compliance or a fine of $100 per day. And the town does have costs of $164, and we would ask that those be imposed, along with the violation of 66-29 for the recreational vehicle on property, ask for its removal within 30 days or $100 per day, and the violation of 67-174, the maintenance and appearance standards, or ask for that to be brought into compliance within 180 days or face a fine of $100 per day.
Okay. And I guess, let me ask, how many structures are on the site total? There's the main house and then two.
Two pools.
Okay.
Two guest houses.
Let me ask just so he understands, if the main house gets demolished and goes away, is it permissible for people to be living in those accessory structures?
Believe Ms. Avery.
I believe it's just the one pool house, because you'd have to have a kitchen in order to make it to where they could, I guess, live there. And I don't believe, does the other one have a kitchen that your son's staying in?
Correct, it does. Yeah, I believe it does.
So that goes a little bit beyond the scope of code enforcement, but just as you continue to go forward with your plan, make sure you consult with town staff to understand what you can and can't do in the event that you get rid of the main house. Because a lot of codes don't allow you to live in these accessory structures if the primary structure is gone. So,
Right, well, this brings me back to this question, the maintenance and appearance in 180 days. You know, obviously, the house is not going to look complete in 180 days, you know, if I'm moving for a demolition permit. So I'd like just clarification, moving for the demolition permit will meet that requirement.
We would ask for compliance within 180 days, so obviously if it's gonna be demolished, we would ask that it be demolished, because what I don't want to happen, Your Honor, is for a demolition permit to be applied for and sit out there for 6 months with no action, and then we have to come back here to code enforcement. So we would ask for compliance within 180 days, whether that's demolition of the structure, fixing the windows, fixing the roof, to bring it compliant with that section. And that refers to all structures on the property. Because I believe the testimony was that some of the windows are on the accessory buildings as well, that need to be brought into compliance.
Can we discuss that right now? Where are those photos?
I believe your testimony was that you plywooded up the windows.
Of the main structure, which I'd like to talk to you about that too. And I believe that there's, I'm not sure of the code, but under an emergency situation, you're allowed to do certain things. Under this situation, I don't believe that plywood is required to have a permit. And I'd like us to look into that.
Well,
I mean, this isn't, I'm not replywooding a roof for, you know, for a future date. I just put plywood up for primarily aesthetics and to wait for the engineers and the attorneys to come out and tell me what we're doing here. And then I can apply for a demolition permit, and then we'll be taking the plywood off and they're gonna take the house away. Yeah,
if it's for aesthetic purposes, there's no emergency.
Well, there was when that section of roof fell down, it left it open. And obviously it bothered people, so I plywooded it up.
right, but typically, and let me ask what your town code says, but typically code say you can do that. If there's an emergency, you can do what you need to do to rectify the emergency, but then you have and most codes are 3 or 4 days after you've done the work to then submit a building permit for the work that you've done. So I'll ask the town to find that code section, but that's not a carte blanche. Because there's an emergency, you can do whatever you want. It just gives you a period of time during which the emergency is, you're
Right.
attending to the emergency situation so that then you can come back to the town and get the building permit.
Okay, hypothetically, my window was knocked out and I replace it and I come back. I'm not looking to replace the window. I'm looking to tear the house down. All I'm trying to do is make it look somewhat better for the neighbors if they're peeking through the bushes.
Ugh,
Until
they're
the
not doing that.
attorney and
Right.
the engineer could say, yes, this is the problem. Go ahead and tear the thing down.
Right, and I get that you're trying to find the path forward, but I also sympathize with the town that this has been going on for quite some time. So I'm actually a little surprised it's taken this long to get you here. That said, there are multiple ways you can get to compliance. One is if you can get the engineers to certify that you can restore the house and proceed down that path, you can do that. The other is to get a demolition permit and demolish the
I
structure.
completely understand that. Going down that path is
Right.
the reason why I tried to explain in the last picture in that photo.
Sure.
That has never been an option until some reason in the last 3 months, the county raised my improved value from 30 some odd thousand to 340 some odd thousand. I don't know why they did that, especially
Yeah, I don't
considering
know
the
why they
house is
would've-
uninhabitable now.
Yeah,
It
that
just
again
makes no
goes outside
sense.
of the scope
So
of
when
this
someone
hearing.
says you could just go get a permit, no, you can't just go get a
No,
permit.
it's not that simple. I get that. And I'm willing to give you time, but I also have to be sympathetic to the fact that this has been going on for already a long time.
Right, but it's a $1 million problem. And it's
Right.
only just now that the county, for some reason, raised the value. Had they done that from the very beginning, I could have replaced the roof and pulled permits to replace all my windows and updated the whole house. But
Right.
you can't do it when you have a $33,000 improved value.
There's a
It
lot,
was the
I
last page of
understand
the
there's a lot
packet.
going on here. No, I saw it. I understand there's a lot going on. But what I'm interested in is you demonstrating progress toward whatever path you choose. And it sounds like you're getting closer, having met with your insurance adjuster and the lawyers, but you need to make a path to go forward. Because I think that the town's point is well taken, that there is a arguably uninhabitable structure on the property, but you are living on the same property. So there are exposed wood portions of the structure, there are exposed portions of the roof. That becomes an issue, especially in hurricane season, which we're in now. So, and you haven't been in, and the building official hasn't been onto the site. I don't understand how you haven't gotten to that part, but again, I think based on the pictures I'm seeing, there are portions that need either a demolition permit or a building permit to get restored. So again, I'm going to give you time to do that, but you need to get moving toward whatever path is the path that you're going to take. Okay? Anything further, sir?
I don't think so.
Okay, anything further from the town?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, with that, I've entered the town's evidentiary case file. I'm going to mark on these exhibits that you gave me, Mr. Dubose, that I've entered these packets in as R2. I'm going to ask the town include these in the case file that you have for this case, the hard copy, or scan them into the electronic file. With that, in case 2024-008, I've admitted the required documents. I'll find based on the documents that are in the town's case file, as well as the posting documentation, that the town had good service for today's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony given by the town, as well as the documents and evidence from both the town and the respondent, that respondent's in violation of section 67-51 and Florida Building Code section 105.1, section 66-29, and section 67-174A1. With regard to section 66-29, I'll require a respondent to comply within 30 days.
Which one is this one?
That's the recreational vehicle. I'll require you to comply within 30 days or face a $100 a day fine. And you'll get an order that reflects all this in the mail. You get a piece of paper that's signed by me that gives you these dates. So for the recreational vehicle, 66-29, compliance within 30 days or $100 a day fine. On the shorter term timeframe compliance, or when the Airstream is gone, call the town so that somebody can come out and take a photograph and verify that you're in compliance so that the fine doesn't start running on that. For code section 67-174A1, I'll require compliance, and that's the aesthetic maintenance appearance standards. I'll require compliance within 180 days, or again, assess a fine of $100 a day for each day that the violation continues. And similarly for section 67-51 and Florida Building Code 105.1, I'll require compliance within 180 days, or $100 a day fine will be assessed for each day thereafter.
Which one was that one?
That's the work without permits. So the 2 trees and then the portion of the structure that you boarded up due to the more recent damage. So either get a building permit or get a demolition permit. Those are, I think, going to be your 2 options. But I think the building official is going to have to go out there and at least the picture that we had on the screen most recently that I was looking at, see what you did to remedy that. And then they can advise you on what path to take.
Okay, but that one is under the same 180 days as the maintenance appearance.
They're both, right. Both the same
So I
time
can
frame.
take
Right.
care of both of them in one go.
Right. All right, and because I have found you in violation based
Oh,
on,
sorry,
Excuse
Your
me,
Honor.
and the trees, the 2 trees. Like I said,
that's the 2 trees that you testified that you relocated from one location to another.
yeah, but on my property. And I moved in Eureka the other day too, so now I'm in violation for moving my Eureka as well.
The town code requires you to have permits to move those, correct?
Your Honor, I may have misspoke. The costs for this case are $173.21.
I wrote down 164.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, that's the next case.
What was the number? I'm sorry, 172, 61?
173.21.
173.21. Okay, and because, as I was saying, because I have found you in violation, the town is entitled to its administrative costs, so those that I'm gonna assess those against you in the amount of $173.21 payable within 30 days. And there's a lot going on here. I certainly sympathize with where you are. I hope that you find the path of least resistance and the path that benefits you the most going forward. So I do wish you the best of luck. Okay, sir?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next case.
Thank you, Your Honor. The next case is case number 2024-016. Janine Guthrie is the respondent, and this is a case under the town's alternative citation process. The nature of the violation is no parking as posted, and I believe we have an officer who has left. Who's here to testify? It's just you. Did our officer leave?
Let me go.
Okay. Our town clerk is gonna check.
For the rest of these, all require presumably.
The other case, the last case on today's agenda, is being withdrawn. They paid the fine.
That number 5?
Yeah, or number 4. I don't know which.
Okay.
It's case 24019. Respondent is Cynthia Lay.
That's the one that's being pulled?
Yes.
Okay.
She paid the citation amount.
Okay. So stand by just for 1 second until we get a report back here on whether the officer's still around. You can stand there if you'd like to, or you can sit down for a minute, whichever you prefer.
Can I ask someone a question about your town for picking up garbage on the beach?
I would wait till after this hearing is over and ask the clerk. I think that would be.
It was a different officer that was here. The other officer is on Woolbright. He had another court case that he's stuck in traffic too. So he said he's on Woolbright.
Okay.
I don't know if we can do
He was
it.
coming out of Lauderdale, he said there was a crash, he'll be here in 3 minutes, he's on Woolbright, so.
Oh, that's quick, 3 minutes then, okay. Okay, so
Sorry about that.
that's okay, I've been there today already. So with that, let me recess this hearing then for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So just, if you could just have a seat, we'll get to you as soon as we reconvene, okay?
This
Okay.
conference will now be recorded.
11. And let me have you come over here, sir. And just as a matter of procedure, let me swear you in. I swore everybody in the beginning of the hearing, but raise your right hand for me. Thank you, sir. Do you swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And I think you're going to be sitting right there, but I'll let the town call its next case.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is case 2024-016. The respondent is Janine Guthrie. This is a alternative citation procedure. The nature of the violation is a parking as posted. We have our officer here to testify on behalf of the town, and as well as the town clerk. You just want to provide your name?
Jimmy Pylon, Ocean Ridge Police Department.
Spell your last name for me just so I get it right in the order.
Pilon.
Pilon. Okay, go ahead.
This is just a simple parking violation. She was parked on Old Ocean Boulevard, or her vehicle was, because she came up after, right? She was just parked in a no parking zone. It's posted periodically all down Old Ocean Boulevard. It says no parking at any time for any vehicle.
Okay.
And on the screen, you'll see the citation. Is that the citation that you issued?
Yes.
Okay. All right, is there a photograph or is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, your name, ma'am?
Good morning, Jasmine Gauthier.
And what is your relation to Janine?
Daughter?
Okay. Can you scroll up on that for me? And go back the other way, sorry. Okay. Before I hear from you, ma'am, let me ask the town what they're seeking in terms of remedy today.
Your Honor, as stated on the citation, the amount that's due for the actual violation is $40. The town has incurred costs of $164 for bringing this violation forward. So we're seeking imposition of the amount of the ticket as well as today's court costs.
And was that ticket amount, the citation amount was 30 or 40?
It was originally 30, but then it goes up if it's not paid within 10 days to 40.
Okay. Oh, I see right there. Okay. Okay. And it remains unpaid as of today? Okay. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
That morning, I was walking on the beach and there was a boat stranded on the beach, a sailboat, a 28-foot sailboat. It was really early in the morning. And there was an old man sitting there, I was about his age, maybe a little heavier, with big scar on his knee. What happened? My boat got stranded at night. I got scared. I almost got into the bridge. What are you gonna do? I have a boat, so I sympathized real fast with him. I was like, what happened? His knees, he was like this, Plus, how can you deal with the boat? The boat, you're all over the place. So he told me he was going to a place called, what's it called? La Salle, Laval. So the boat is stranded. He then pursued to get a towing company. The man has an old classic phone where there's no PGS, no Uber, no nothing. Now he's like, the only way I can get it if I go to them and sign it. I said, no problem. I helped him. Let's walk on the street, the old boulevard. You're gonna sit there, wait. I'm gonna go get a car, come back. I will take you to the marina, which I did. Get to the marina, sign the paper, took him back. Then the marina guy told us that he has to go back on the boat and wait for them to come, where he's gonna throw him a rope, and then they're gonna tow him out. The city is gonna come, but okay. So when we got back, and it's stormy outside, I said, let me help you to walk you to your car, to the boat. As we walk, excuse me, can you come and help this man to lift him up to go into the boat? Because he has about this high. This situation and a little worse. So I did. And then as I'm coming back, I get a ticket where I'm cleaning the mess of your city, because if I didn't take that man over there, that boat would have been stranded. He would have washed his hand, because it would not have been worth. This boat, it's not worth like all would have cost the extra of towing and all that, and it would cost this city a lot of money to have it towed and salvaged. So I'm asking to dismiss this because I was doing good Samaritan work.
She did tell me that day after the citation was already written that she was trying to help a gentleman. We were aware of him. We told her that we had met with him in the night. All the things she did, I'm not sure. She did tell me that she was.
Yeah, and I have a text from the men. You saved my life.
I did tell her too. I mentioned to her that accessing the beach via private property was illegal too. So we were just gonna leave it at that, and I left. That was it.
Okay. So you cited her mother though, correct?
I cited the vehicle and it cited each
You
individual.
cited the
It was
vehicle,
an
that's why the vehicle.
unoccupied vehicle
Okay.
at the time. She came up after the citation was issued and I was actually leaving.
So that's why the mom's name is on the
Yeah,
citation.
my
is
mom
'cause
just
that's-
passed away. So.
I'm sorry.
Actually, the name on the citation would be the RO of the vehicles, whoever the registered owner is for
Mhm.
unoccupied vehicle, that's the name.
That's who got cited, okay. Okay.
Okay.
She's very friendly.
Okay. Your Honor, obviously, based on her testimony, the town's gonna dismiss the citation.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, that's easy. So don't go anywhere yet.
Thank you very much.
Don't run
Appreciate
quite
your
yet.
assistance.
Yes, and I'm very sorry for the loss of your mother. My condolences there.
there.
So this one, given what you said, I appreciate you showing up because that's half the battle. Most people don't show up on these citation cases, so that's step one. You did that very well. And given what you said, the town is being very lenient. I was inclined to be a little bit lenient as well. They're being even more lenient. So with that, in case 2024-016, I'll dismiss the case altogether.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you.
And I have a question though. When I walk on the beach, there's maybe 2-3 other people that do that every morning, pick up the garbage. I can bring 2-3 bags and they get full and I'm barely 100 feet. Now my bag, okay, where am I gonna throw them? I cannot walk any of those entrances. I'm on Briny Breeze. I don't know if you know okay. So I have to walk back and oh my God, there's more. Let's fill the pickup. It's a joke. There is no garbage anywhere on the beach for us to throw. There is a lot of plastic. I'm sorry, I had put this to be silent. I don't know why this is. I never seen any of the owners or in front of those beach to pick up this. If you go to the rescue, you're gonna see the rescue turtles. They all eat plastic. It's a problem to everybody, but your town is not helping. If you go to Briny Breeze, there's bucket. Hey, guy, you wanna pick up? Take the bucket. And you go, and then you come back with the bucket. You have no bucket? I would like more, there's garbage, because I can pick up, okay, throw it. Keep walking, pick up, okay, throw it. That's all, so
So
I don't know
think
who
you're-
do we ask
Yeah, I don't
to
know.
do
I don't
that?
know who the appropriate person is, but I think that the town staff has heard you, so they will relay your concern, to the
Yeah, that's
appropriate people.
it's an emergency, because the bags, it's amazing. It's all, basically, it's all like caps of
Garbage, yes.
Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you guys for waiting.
Thank
for me.
you.
I apologize. There was literally a crash right at Atlantic. I'm sitting there for like 30 minutes. Well, I finally had to pull off and come all these little back roads.
Been a traffic day, yes.
It has.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, every-
Big garbage can at the end of the on the dirt path in front of the condo.
Every
Not
public.
sure. I haven't been
50
there.
gallon garbage.
No, but
Two of them.
I don't know what that is, you told me.
You said right, it's right at the edge of Briny Breeze, right where the pathway
Okay,
is.
see, but then you walk 100 miles, I'm already full. I'm not gonna go back, it's insane.
And they're picked up by the
There's a
county.
need, there's a need.
The county took them.
All right, next case
That's it, right?
is
That's it?
5 being pulled too.
Oh, do you have an old agenda?
I might have printed an older one.
Yeah.
Is there no 5? I'm
No,
sorry.
that one paid last week, and then, the one that we had for case number 19.
So 19 and 20 both paid? Okay, so apologies. I did print it the day you sent it, so sorry about that. Okay, nothing further then for the magistrate?
That would be it.
All right, I will adjourn this hearing at 11:21.